and thanks to our virtual view technology, we can actually transport you to West Palm Beach, Florida, my old stomping grounds. This is where I grew up. Showers today will be popping off later. This kind of looks like the Intercoastal to me, and I feel like we used to go rollerblading on the sidewalks. Remember when rollerblading was a thing? I don't think it's a thing anymore. I don't know. Is rollerblading still a thing? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. We used to do it right there on the Intercoastal. Anyhow, West Palm's running about 2 inches below average on rain for the year. So let's talk about how much rain we're going to see the next several days. We are going to be getting it here, and it lasts all the way really through a good chunk of next week. It is the rainy season, though, so we do expect to see more rain this time of year, mid-May through mid-October, and we get the daily sea breezes we all know about if we live there, and this accounts for roughly 70% of the annual rainfall. Let's talk about the annual rainfall, because you can easily see when that rainy season kicks in by looking at our bar graph here. And notice, as we hit May and then June, things really spike up and it stays high and starts to drop off October, and then November you see really sinks off. So what do you think is happening during this time in the rainy season?
Hurricane season.
Thank you, Reynolds. It's hurricane season, so that's one of the reasons that we get so much rainfall. We will see a couple inches. This is through Thursday of next week. We really need it on the west coast of Florida. That's where things are dry. Tampa, as you head down towards the Fort Myer area. And we will see some showers. Right now, all is quiet. Usually it is in the morning in Florida.
Roger.
And then you get some of that sunshine to start bubbling everything up, and you'll see the storms pop off here. And it's not too bad today. South Florida sees some heavier showers right over Lake Okeechobee there, and also right along the spine of Florida. But watch what happens as we go through the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, they pop back up, the diurnal heating. Into Monday, we are going to see more rain. Tuesday, I'm telling you, it really doesn't stop. Little low pressure develops here. Florida is really where we're going to see a lot of the weather all the way through our Thursday forecast. Tampa, we will see thunderstorms. At least it's not a total washout, especially in the morning hours. It looks pretty good. It's more of an afternoon thing. But as you can see, very likely above average in Florida, and that's the same as we look from the plains back towards the Four Corners. Reynolds.
Okay, Steph, thanks.
Welcome back into America's Morning Headquarters on this finally Friday. Hang in there. We're almost to the weekend, and after a long week, we tend to get a little loopy here on America's Morning Headquarters. So we want to look back at our favorite weather loops. We're going to start you off with the wildfires in Western Canada. They are creating smoky skies for not only Canada, but also the U.S. Anywhere you see this kind of hazy grayness, that's the smoke from the fires. The fires are where you see the red dots on the map. This, by the way, is snow on the ground. That's the brighter white you see there, and there's also brighter white where you see the clouds. But this smoke has been dropping down into the lower 48. We do have air quality alerts for 7 states here in the lower 48, anywhere from Montana, Idaho, all the way over into Wisconsin. And I'll tell you what, even down to the south, some people are seeing and smelling that smoke. Now, we are still down. We are counting down the days to the Atlantic hurricane season, but we've already seen Cyclone Fabian swirling over the South Indian Ocean. We did get flooding on Diego Garcia, which is a remote island there. But what I want to point out, does this look funny to you? Does it look odd to you? Is something not off? You're like, something's not right there. That's because it's rotating clockwise because it's in the southern hemisphere, and that's the way low pressures rotate. In the northern hemisphere, we're used to seeing them going counterclockwise. Maybe we'll have to dive into why things rotate different directions on another show. At this hour, we are watching the threat of yet another round of severe storms across the southern plains, and Jim is tracking that for us right now.
Abrams does the
pattern, the first climate change talk show. I'm Steph Abrams.
And I'm Felicia Combs, in for Jordan Steele. Now, we're going to get to today's hot topics in just a moment, but right now we've got some flooding concerns going on in Wilmington, North Carolina, so we want to check in with Lynette Charles.
Yeah, guys, area of low pressure bringing plenty of rain across this area, so let's delve into it.
All right, thanks. We appreciate that, Lynette. We are now going to get right into our hot topics, and here's one thing climate change is impacting that you
probably... Are you a bird watcher? Have you ever been a bird watcher?
As I've gotten older, I've actually gotten more interested in bird watching. But you know what I do love watching? You know they have like the eagle cam or whatever the cams are, and you can watch the birds sit there, and they're like the snow's all over them, but they're protecting that egg. And then they bring back little pieces of things to make their nest. It just blows my mind.
They have like a whole, I know, this hot take here, birds have a whole life. Like a whole
Wait, but was it the podcast that you were bird obsessed? Wasn't there a red bird or something something you're obsessed with?
It was a magpie.
Magpie.
Yeah, it was called, the podcast is called This Is Love. It's a plug. And they talk about like love stories, but it's not like your typical love story. One of them was about a magpie. Now, my bird watching experience, my grandma has a bunch of bird feeders up. So every time I come and visit, especially when it's like spring, it's just this chirping of birds, and there are all these pretty birds everywhere. And it really is, it's just like that. I feel like I'm at my grandma's house right now. So yeah, it really is something you hate to see it. You hate to see them struggling. Yeah. Kind of hate to hear those statistics. I hate to hear this statistic too, because a Coke Zero is my
go-to
personal indulgence. But you don't know what all you're getting when you drink out of a plastic bottle. You might also be drinking plastic.
Maybe this will give you motivation. My sister-in-law randomly was like, "I find you very motivating today." I was like, "Oh, thanks." I wasn't expecting that. I was like, "Thanks, Mace."
That's a good compliment.
Yeah, it was so random, but maybe this will motivate you to get a reusable cup or bottle or whatever it is and take it everywhere you go. You know, my dad's best friend growing up, I remember him saying, "I don't understand the bottled water thing. Like, water is free. Like, you just literally go up to," and I think till this day, I'm going to actually text him later and be like, "Have you ever bought a bottle of anything?" Because he's like, "This is ridiculous."
Well, so I have a very picky water palate, I have to admit.
Really?
Yeah, but I have a water pitcher filter at home. And I've tried several different ones, and I have a specific water pitcher filter that I constantly fill up. So I don't buy bottled water, but you're not going to catch me drinking water out of the tap.
Really?
I cannot.
So what you won't take, because I used to have one of those too, and you put it under the thing, but it tastes different. So how do you fill it up then?
With my pitcher.
No, but you don't use tap water in the filtered thing?
I put tap water in my filtered.
Just put it under and drink it?
No.
Oh.
But also, like, the thing about it, even when it comes out of an aluminum can, there's still plastic contamination. That's what got me. Because there's nothing nicer than a nice little tiny Coke Zero.
I haven't had a soda in, a decade now or something.
Okay, well, you can keep trying to motivate me.
All right. A historic shipwreck has turned into a marine habitat, and now we can see it with unbelievable clarity. If you're not by your television screen and you're just listening, you've got to come.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Come around and look at this. What's left of the Titanic is disappearing before our eyes, making work like this all the more exciting as climate pattern scientist Allie Van Fleet shows us. Yeah.
We were just talking about what we wish you could go down easier.
Wild if you could go in a submarine and go around. I know with the pressures and everything, it's not, and it's hard to get to. It's in the middle of the Atlantic.
But if you were in a tiny little personal submarine, you wouldn't have to worry about like knowing how to dive, knowing how to breathe,
it'd be pretty
and all
wild
of that
if
stuff.
you could do it.
I had a serious Titanic obsession, and that might have just reignited it.
Well, then we need to get you down there. And have a look at it.
Come on, Pattern. Send me on location to explore the Titanic. Okay, well, time for facts are facts. The world's oceans are hotter now than they've been any time since at least 1982. Now, the recent spike in surface temperatures has scientists around the world. Makes so much sense. Well, Nick Strong-Savitich, CEO of Save the Waves Coalition, thanks for talking to us today.
And I apologize again for butchering your name off the top. Savitich, I got it now.
We got it.
I've got it. So my deepest apologies for that.
I was like, I'm going to say it this time just in case, but we got it. We both got it.
I got it.
It's amazing how far-reaching the impacts that you never think of are things that are being impacted by our changing climate.
Yeah, and he mentioned the bathymetry, and that's basically how shallow or deep the ocean floor is, and how that can be impacted, and then obviously impacts your waves will be bigger or smaller depending if that changes. It's wild. Yeah. So to come here this hour on any updates for us on the flood warning, Lynette?
Yeah, so we had that flood warning. It was until noon. Now it's until 3. I just want to show it to you.
Welcome back into Pattern. We are counting down to Memorial Day, which means boat owners are getting ready to hit the water. But if your boat has spent the cooler seasons wrapped in a plastic casing, we want to help you take care of that sustainably.
Yes, Mark Fisher is the president and CEO of the Council of the Great Lakes, joining us now. First, I think we should tell people that maybe aren't boat owners or don't live, near lakes or water. Like, what do you mean? Your boat's been wrapped in shrink wrap? They might be thinking like we're crazy. So first, let's explain why people do that. Mark, I'm just impressed that the weather causes this much damage. You have to do all this. I mean, they're out on the rough seas, banging. And
think about that. Think about how much of like a Sullivan, especially if you're in the elements, the water can be for.
I guess. All right, Mark Fisher, president and CEO at the Council of the Great Lakes region. Thank you so much for joining us today. I mean, I guess if you get a solid sheet of freezing rain, it could probably add a lot of weight and break, parts of boats.
That's why someone said, you never buy your own boat, you just make friends with people who have boats.
Yeah, the best day of a boaters who owns a boat is the day they sell it or something. What are all those saying?
Like
I mean, so they're a lot of work and expensive.
But they're so much fun.
I know, they are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for more stories
coming up next on Pattern, the lifestyles of the rich and famous.
That was good.
Aren't always sustainable, though. We're sorry. Who are our first climate zeros and who are our crowning climate heroes? That's coming up after the break.
Welcome back into Pattern. The food we eat has a major impact on the planet, so we need to look for lower emission solutions.
Here's one. Bugs.
Which you eat apparently all the time.
I've had them sometimes.
Yeah.
Reporter Tina Kraus with our partners at CBS shows us how they could be a game changer.
Okay, I couldn't like dig into that with a fork with a little like marinara and eat it.
Yeah.
But I think if they, well, a lot of times, they're not alive, I guess, a lot of times when we eat them. But just it's the way they look. If they look different, I think I could do it.
The secret with eating bugs, as is many other things in life, is the deception. You got to trick your brain. You know what I mean?
Isn't that life though in
That's
general?
what I'm saying. That's the key to life. You got to learn how to trick your brain. Because imagine if you grind them up and they're up like a protein
Then you have no
powder and you
idea.
make a cookie or something, you're like, man, that's a great oatmeal cookie. That's not a raisin.
All right, let's move on to our new segment here. For the first time ever, we are presenting you with Pattern Zone heroes and zeros.
And that was the wrong sound, but you get the point. Okay, good. Each week we'll highlight the people who are putting in the work for our planet and the ones who need to step their games up.
Yeah. So up first, it's the way to go. It's almost faster and it's easier. So when we saw this story, I knew that you were in trouble.
Me?
Yeah.
No, am I now your anti-hero? I don't want there to be any bad blood, but look what you made me do.
Yeah, now don't blame me because karma's gonna get you.
Okay.
Is that you, Lynette, laughing over there? Do you have a climate hero, or you want to praise, or a zero you want to shame? Let us know on social media accounts.
And I don't know if I'm a Swiftie, but I like her music. It always grows on me.
Did you go to the concert?
I did it.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
It looks amazing, though.
I know, it does look amazing. Speaking of amazing, weather, of course, that's why we all love it. It's
Alex Wilson. They are up next with Woo TV. See you Monday, everybody.